And third is whether you have kept yourself updated with the latest happenings in your industry. If you've not kept, then the question is, do they need you or are they just tolerating you, right? So even in your own business, if you want your children to take over from you, you're better off leaving them to do what they think is right for the business and not sit and interfere there. So there is some kind of a compulsory retirement, some kind of a voluntary retirement. The compulsory retirement is what I call the push retirement, that the company is pushing you out. When the minute you turn 45, 46, every time there's a call from HR, you're a little worried that this call could be saying, we have a voluntary retirement happening. Are you interested? So that's the closest to company saying we want you to go. So that starts happening, and that's the time when you need to go. In the cricketing world, people start asking, why has Dhoni not retired? Why has Dravid not retired? Right? So they have to take tremendous amount of pressure. So even they don't know a correct age at which to retire. None of us know, right? None of us think. I mean, a 60-year-old doesn't think there is something wrong with him, but that's the company policy. Company says, okay, you're 60, you have to retire. Some companies, of course, go on for 61, 62. Some people go on till 70, but those are, again, cases where. So how should you be investing for retirement? The most important thing you have to do for retirement, let me not mince words, is to take care of your health. Let's face it, we are all people with 1 or 2 kids max. So which means if we expect our kids to take care of us, we have to make sure that the kids are there only to be able to take care of us in a very superficial kind of a way, which means, what I mean is, you need money for your medicines, you need money for your doctors, you need money for maybe diapers at an older age. All this has to be provided by your money. Your kids can be around, they can supervise the servants. Don't expect the kids to pay for all this. It's unfair, and we might just live too long. I don't know, the biggest epidemic today that I see is the epidemic of longevity. And the worst is when, if you're struck by some illness, which could be something like dementia, it's not a killer. So if you get dementia at 78 and you live till 85 or even till 90, you are a nightmare. Your house just does not know how to take care of you. It's a very difficult job for them. Right. So the question is, how do you prepare for retirement and how do you start investing for retirement? Of course, retirement investing you start when you're very young. So because when you're very young, I mean, the title of my book is everybody likes to read this portion. People don't like to read this portion. This portion says invest rupees 40 a day. So people keep forgetting that they have to invest 40 rupees a day, and investing 40 rupees a day makes sense only when you start investing at the age of 22. Do we start investing at the age of 22? The answer is no. We start investing at the age of 32, 33 when a classmate has a heart attack or one classmate dies. So we meet in the crematorium, and there we are discussing and saying, my God, he was only 32. And then mortality strikes you saying, oh God, I can be mortal too. And that's when you start worrying and you say, oh God, I need to take some insurance, I need to worry about my retirement, I need to provide for my wife and kids, and etc, 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 right? So that is the age. 30 to 33 is also the age when you realize that you're no longer in your 20s. It takes a couple of years to realize that, oh God, मैं अभी 25 हो गया हूँ, मैं 25 का नहीं रहा. Right? It takes a little time for us to recognize that. So now the question is, how much money does one require to retire? I mean, I'm happy if somebody can unmute yourself and give me that figure. How much money do you think a person turning 60 today will require for his retirement? Anybody who wants to answer this question?
I would go first.
Everyone has the option to unmute and speak. Please go ahead.
20 years of living, considering 20 years of living.
Yeah.
The sum required for living 20 years ahead of that day. So my guess is that.
Yeah, but suppose your household expenses are about, say, 6 lakhs today, 6 lakhs per annum, okay, about 50,000 a month. How much will you require?
It would require.
Is it just 20 into 5?
No, it has some inflation.
Yeah.
It's about 2.5 to 3 crores.
Okay, 2.5 to 3 crores. So the question is, how much does a 22-year-old, how much do you think a 22-year-old will require by the time the 22-year-old has to retire?
About 8 to 10 crores.
Actually, it will double. It will go to something like 20 crores.
Okay.
Now, the problem with compounding is the mind does not work that fast. So we keep a very simple formula. You target something like 30 times your annual expenses at the age of 60. Because you or your wife can live till the age of 100 also. So let us not discount that, because when everybody you ask used to earlier say, oh, I will die at 70. Now that age has shifted to 80, like he said, 20 years after retirement, there is no proof that you will live till 80. There is enough proof that you will live till 100, right? There is one village in Japan where the average is already gone to 117. And there's a research in US saying the man who's going to live till 150 is already born and is in US, right? So we are not prepared for that kind of longevity, which means we will have to retire at 60, find another job at 61 and keep on doing that job till 125 or 130. So what are the important things for retirement? One is by the time you're 45, 50, you have to be very clear that you have to have hobbies. There is absolutely no escaping that. Only that can make it a pull retirement. Your hobby should pull you towards retirement. Your office will anyway push you towards retirement. A push retirement is very sad because this guy is going to be depressed. He's going to sit at home, not know what to do. It's a very, very difficult situation. But if he has good hobbies, could be anything, could be playing table tennis to going for a run or cycling or mountaineering, whatever. Some hobby, because the hobby should pull him. He should feel, oh my God, I have to go here, I have to go there. You should. So for that, what all do you need? First, you need a hobby. Second, you need a friend circle. And two friend circles you need to create. One, you need to create among your classmates, which means they're the same age as you, all born in 1952 or all born in 1948 or all born in 1962, right? Everybody same age. And one which is across age groups. Like if you have a running group or a cycling group, you'll have a 20-year-old and a 70-year-old, and you may be just 55. So which means you have people 15 years older to you and 30 years younger to you. The younger kids will come and ask you for some guidance regarding career, etc. And the older person might ask you help regarding investing, bank accounts, etc. Right? So you are helpful to both sides of the group, and you slowly grow into that group, and so the younger people start supporting you, etc. Why do you need this support? Because at some stage when you're alone, one kid has gone to US. That's it. After that, what happens? How often do you expect the kid to come? And let me tell you the worst case scenario. All of us have heard of R.D. Burman, of course, R.D. Burman and S.G. Burman. So first S.G. Burman died, then R.D. Burman died. And after that, our S.G. Burman's wife lived for 15 years with R.D. and S.G. gone. And for those who do not know, S.G. Burman was from a royal family. He broke away from the royal family to get into music. So which means she was completely alone. And she stayed near, in a senior citizen home near our house here in Nerul. And she was funded by the daughter-in-law. So I have no clue what happened to the wealth, who managed it or who mismanaged it. And so she was alone. And that is one thing I know. How many of us are ready for 15 years of solitude? Largely, we have decided to have one kid, half a kid. The average is pretty falling. I met couples who have been into the marriage for 15 years and chosen not to have a kid and no regrets. So, right. So who's going to look after you in your old age? You need to create teams around you. You need to create wealth, and you then tell your children, okay, please look after me in my old age. That's the way to go about it. Let me ask you one more question. A 30-year-old or a 27-year-old in Bombay, let's say earns about 5 lakhs a year. Okay. How much do you think would be his expenses 50 years later? Which means when he is 77, this guy who is earning about 5 lakhs now, how much do you think he'll be spending per month? Okay, at his age of 77. Any guesses? Anybody unmuting and wanting to answer? Monthly expenditure for this kid who is now 27, how much will it be when he's 77? 50 years later. Yeah, anybody? Hello?
Yeah, you all can unmute and speak.
If none of you answer, Mani will have to answer.
He knows all the answers.
Hopefully.
I would say about 50 lakhs, 10 times.
So now this is a lovely answer. Now try going and telling a kid that you're earning 5 lakhs per annum. You will be spending 50 lakhs per month. He's not going to believe it at all. Now, I'm very happy that somebody gave me such a big answer, because normally people come up with 8 lakhs, 9 lakhs kind of a thing. But however, if I were to set the clock back, a man in 1968 was earning about 9,000 rupees per annum. Okay. So 9,000 rupees per annum as a chartered accountant. It's not a bad salary at all. It was considered to be a top salary. I'm talking of a top salary in 1968. Now this guy is spending about 45,000 rupees per month. Now that doesn't sound atrocious, right? 45,000 per month is just absolute basic. You're not talking of foreign vacations or anything of that sort. You're not even talking of a driver and car and driver. You're only talking of a simple one maid and household expenses. So when people hear this 45,000, now that man tells me, suppose you had come to me in 1968 and told me I would be spending 45,000 per month, I would have laughed at you and I said, are you mad? I'm earning 9,000 per annum. मतलब मेरा 5 साल का कमाई मैं एक महीने में खर्चा करूंगा. How is it possible? Now that is the power of compounding. That is the power of inflation. And inflation applicable to him has been about 8%. So how much will be the inflation applicable to us? Maybe it will be slightly lower, but I don't expect it to be much lower. Maybe it will be 6%, 6.5%. Because currently maybe it is 4.5%, 5%. But if you write down your own expenses, you realize that it is not so low after all. Some expenses go up much faster than what we realize, right? Vegetable expenses may not go up, but doctor's expenses go up, medical expenses go up, right? So some of these things go up. School fees goes up, education costs and colleges go up, medical colleges, MBA colleges, all are getting very expensive, right? So if you take all that into account, the kind of money that kids are going to need today, especially the younger kids, it's humongous. It's not something small. So we can't expect them to pay for our old age expenses. We have to provide for all the money. So somebody said a person retiring today at 60 will need 2.5 to 3 crores. Yes, 2.5 to 3 crores for a very, very simple living. Remember that. This does not include your foreign travel or anything of that sort. Secondly, very important to realize that when you're young, you think all retired people. But when you get older, you realize that retirement is in 3 phases. It's 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, or 80 to 85, and 85 to end of life. At each stage, your expenses are very different. At 60 to 70, you still have enough energy. And if you have the money you want to spend, you want to maybe travel, depending on your budget, you may want to see New Zealand, you may want to see Australia, or if your budget doesn't permit, you may still want to see Goa and Arunachal Pradesh. And this is a beautiful country. There's a lot of things to see. So depending on how much you want to spend, on how much budget you have, and what kind of groups you have created, how many cousins you have, friends you have, etc., you will travel, you will spend. But of course, there it's a function of whether you have the money. This is voluntary. It's not compulsory for you to spend that much. So you will have to provide for all that. The other worry is at a particular age in life, you want a very, very simple portfolio. So the simplest portfolio means you take your money, you give it to one company, which could be an LIC or an HDFC Life or somebody, and said, boss, here is my money. Please pay me a monthly pension. That is called an annuity. So you will go and buy it because it's the simplest product for you to understand. Ek tarikh ko mere account mein itna paisa aa jana chahiye. Now that is very inefficient because it gives you a very poor return. And our government, being the leftists that we are, all this is taxed. So at the age of 90, you will be paying for your diapers, not getting a tax deduction on that, and paying tax at the fullest rate. Don't even, perish the thought that your taxes will go down. We are the privileged class of the top 1%, 0.5%, 0.01%, whatever it is. So none of us will be able to, none of us will get anything from the government. We will only keep paying. Going forward, our kids will be worse off because we didn't pay estate duty, they will pay estate duty. So हम मरने के बाद भी हमको गाली पड़ने वाली है. बुड्ढा पैसा छोड़ के गया, उसमें भी government को देना पड़ रहा है. So those are the reasons why you should have more and more money in retirement, and very, very important that you take care of your health. Because the greatest favor you can do to your children is not giving them a house or anything, but taking care of yourself. If you take care of yourself, kids will be more than happy. They will be thrilled. And so, I mean, the first question which we had said is why plan for retirement? I think it's very clear, and I don't think this class needs any question of why should we plan for retirement. But I'm very sad that, when a daughter is born in the house, everybody will come and give some stupid suggestion. Aapko gold खरीदना चाहिए, उसके शादी में चाहिए, which is a stupid suggestion. But nobody ever in the social circles ever tells you that you will retire, you need to plan for it. So it's actually, if you ask me, I've said this in a report to one of the undersecretaries in the Ministry of Finance, that we are sitting on a time bomb. Companies are not even talking about it, and I don't know why. I think it's a very good topic to talk about for people above 50. No point in talking to people at the age of 60. It is too short. I mean, अरे सुब्रा कल या बंदा retire हो रहा है, इससे बात करो. It's too late. I think 50 is a good age when to remind people that you need to plan, you need to do these things, you need to keep your will ready. I mean, will, when should you make? You should make it every day. I mean, you should make it whenever you know that you have to make a will. However, people keep postponing these things. Arey, kal bana dete hain, parso bana dete hain. Yama has told me when I'm going to die. I know when I'm going to die, so I'm in no hurry to make the will. So these are things which we postpone. Second, you saw one of the statements which I said, women need to save more for retirement. Okay, let me first break the first one. First of all, we have to stop saying that we need to save for retirement. That was for our previous generation. This generation will have to invest for retirement. Saving for retirement, 3 crore jama karna is almost impossible. You cannot accumulate 3 crores with just saving. Saving means keeping your money in bank account, in endowment plans, in national savings certificate, bank fixed deposits, etc. This just does not grow. It will not grow. To make it 3 crores, you have to actually put 3 crores, right? That's the kind of money that you will have to put. Because bank interest, when it comes every year, you will pay 30% tax. Believe me, kuch nahi bachta hai. Today, the rate in State Bank of India, for example, is 5.65%. 1 minute ke liye usko 6% samajh lijiye. And even if you're paying tax at 30%, that is another 2% gone. So you're getting 4%. 4% does not cover inflation. So actually, aapka wealth ghat raha hai. Every year you're saving 100 rupees, and that you're getting 104. But next year, 104 does not buy what 104 could have bought this year. So you're not. So what you have to do, you have to put money in equities so that you grow it to 3 crores, 4 crores, whatever, which we need today. Somebody who is 50 will need something like 7 crores or 8 crores. So the simple target to keep is one house plus $1 million. Because when you keep it as $1 million, you know that the dollar will anyway appreciate. So today it is 7.5 crores. After some time it will be 8 crores. So inflation is taken care of by the dollar appreciating, and I presume the dollar will appreciate. I don't know what will happen. So now let's come to why. So the difference is investing means putting into asset classes which have a high standard deviation, which means in equities you can get 16% return in 1 year and minus 4% next year, right? So those kind of fluctuations will happen. You have to learn to manage the standard deviation. Your heart will have to know how to handle the variability and not get tense about it. But that is what the variability gives you the growth, right? When you put money in PPF and it grows at 7%, it just does not match with inflation. That's the problem. So with these two things, now one more thing which I said is women need to invest more. I said women need to save more for retirement. The correct answer is women need to invest more for retirement. And why do women have to invest more for retirement? The answer is very simple. One, they live longer. Any idea why women live longer? Anybody unmuting themselves? Why do women live longer than men? But women do live longer. I know if you have seen the actuarial tables, women live about 4 years longer than men. Anybody with an answer? The best answer I got in a class was because they don't have wives. So So I don't know whether that's the right answer, but yeah, women live longer. Secondly, far more difficult is women don't get educated very highly, because if a girl, I mean, this is not so much of a problem when a girl does her BE or does her MBA, that's okay. But I have spoken to many doctors, because it's an unending education. Yeah, you finish education at the age of 31, and by the time the Indian parent is already desperate कि बेटी की शादी करानी है, so women are never allowed to study further. So a girl has to finish her education by 23, 24. Whereas in the medicine, if she were to do MBBS, MS, MD, DM, she goes until 31, 32. There is no way how very, very rare houses where they allow a girl to go that far. So a girl and a boy in the same house, if the resources are limited, the girl will not get educated. It is the boy who will get educated. Where they have money, it's a different thing. But if there's a money shortage, it is the boy who will get priority, not the woman. Things are changing, but changing very, very slowly. So women get educated less. Therefore, women get discriminated in the workspace. Women earn less. Secondly, whenever there is a nursing requirement, obviously when there is a baby and a woman takes 3 years off, let's say she takes 2 times, she takes 3 years off, that is 6 years she takes off from her career. That much time she will be earning less. And if another nursing requirement is a parent or a father-in-law or a mother-in-law, then again it's the woman who gives up her job at the age of 45 or 50, which could be so-called peak of her career, right? So these are the reasons why women earn less and women live longer. Therefore, they need to invest more. The other problem is women do not think that investing is their area. They keep thinking, Indian thinking is men should manage money and women should manage the kitchen. And I think both are absolutely stupid and absolutely wrong. There is no reason to think that your son need not know cooking, or your woman or your daughter need not know finance. I keep telling girls, women my age that अपने बेटे को cooking सिखाओ, नहीं तो बहू गाली देगी. Because you curse your mother-in-law that she didn't teach your husband any cooking. So make sure that your daughter-in-law doesn't curse you. So please teach cooking to men, and please teach finance to girls. Another problem with finance is, I don't know why, I mean, a lot of academicians here, none of us think that education needs to have basic finance. So there can be a person who can pass through, get a BCom degree without knowing how the inside of a bank looks, or how a checkbook looks, or what is the, where to look for the check number in the checkbook. You're not going to believe this, but I live in an army colony. There's a person here who didn't know how to write a check. He is retired from the army. So he puts his check in front of the broker and said, "Haan, likho apna check." So somebody asked him, "Sir, aapne," he said, "Main to nahi likhta, I only sign checks. I don't know how to write." So if you are the very corporate types, used to a secretary for everything, get prepared for retirement. You need to prepare for all this, right? You need to, if you're a man or a woman, if you got used to all this paraphernalia, realize that when you retire, you will have none of these things available. You will not have a secretary to write your check. You will not have a secretary paying your bills. So learn to pay all the utility bills. In fact, I would think 1 month you should pay the utility bill, 1 month your wife should pay the utility bill, maybe from the same account. At least she should know the procedure. Prepare her for your departure. Apart from writing a will and taking term insurance, you need to do this thing also. All right. Should I take some questions and then come back for more? It's becoming too much of a monologue, and I don't know if you have questions other than, I mean, I don't want to just...
Can I ask, sir?
Yeah, please.
The format is yours, no problem.
Yeah, please ask questions.
Can I ask, sir? My name is Satish.
Yeah, Satish.
Sir, when you said one house and $1 million, and just prior to that, you had said 30 times your annual expenses.
Yeah.
So let me get this correct. You are saying one house, which is obviously does not have any kind of a loan on it, loan free.
Correct.
You can't be taking loans at 55 or 60, because, I mean, quite honestly, I have a unique situation wherein my wife works for a bank, and they get an employee loan, the second employee loan at 2.5% simple interest, and it's very tempting to take that loan because you can pay till the age of 75. So that's one part. But the corpus that you mentioned, so you're talking about, let's say, if your monthly expenditure is 1 lakh, 1 lakh into
I can't hear you. You'll have to come nearer to your mic, perhaps.
You're saying that 1 lakh is your monthly expenditure. So
Yeah.
12 into 30, 3.
Correct.
Is 3.6 is what you require for a bare minimum living.
Correct.
At,
Correct.
At the age of 60.
Correct.
Now that is for both husband and wife, or are you?
Yes. For two, assuming 1 lakh per month is for both husband and wife.
Correct. So
yes.
But the ages at which you and your wife are retiring are different. My wife is going to retire about, let's say, 2-3 years later than me. So
okay.
when do I take that time also?
You can take your age. And but remember that she might live 5-6 years longer than you do, because normally actuarial tables say women live 3-4 years longer, and if she's 3-4 years younger to you, it means she will live about 6-7 years after you do.
So my age at 60, so 1 into 12 into 30, 3.6 is what you require.
Yes.
Okay. The other question I'll ask, I mean, I think others should ask question regarding
the house, okay.
The house thing. Is it okay to take a house loan at that age? Let's say when you are.
And do what?
The remainder of the corpus that you have, the amount of money that you would have normally put for that house, you use that for actual investing purposes.
Yeah, you can. You're talking of using the second house as an investing house, is it? To get rent?
No, not second house, not second house. I mean, I'll give a very practical example of what happens in Mumbai.
Okay.
So I live in a house, I live in a building which is relatively old and which is to go under redevelopment or something like that. I do not want to do that. I want to get out of it. Simply get out of it.
Okay.
I get out of it and then let avail of the second loan from my wife's kitty.
Okay.
And then buy a house wherever I want to buy.
Okay.
So the remaining money which is there, I can put it for investment purposes in equity market as you have suggested.
Correct.
Would that be
correct? But in this 3.6 crores, it is assumed that it will be managed very prudently and nothing will be lost.
Okay. Fair enough. 3.6 I have understood.
That is completely sacrosanct. Nothing can happen to it. Beyond that, if you want to buy a second house, actually it's a very good thing to buy a second house at the age of 60. Or but make sure that you buy in a brand new building so that building does not go into rebuilding. Yeah, it will last for 40 years, which will be end of your life also. So because if you are housing, see, you are very lucky that your house is going under the acts, so to say, at your age of 60. If it were happening at 70, you would have very little options. You may not want to, you may find it very difficult.
Quite honestly, sir, I don't even want to do that because we've been attempting that for the last 10 years. And I know for a fact that whatever happens, it will be a 7-year struggle. So just get out of it.
I keep saying the minute they say reconstruction, from that day to end is about 10 years at least. So no doubt about that. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, please ask.
So it's an observation that, as you rightly said, that the risk of death is risk of life is much more than risk of death now.
Absolutely.
So if I am retiring at 60, I may live for next 30 years.
Correct.
And to provide that, as you rightly said, in the early 50s, one should decide how we are going to manage that fund.
Yes.
We started the last 3 years. I teach in JBIMS, and our age group of students for full-time program is 23, 24 and a half is the average age. So we have started this awareness for them how to manage your personal finance.
Excellent.
So we give them some exposure in that so that they can manage their own. Because teaching finance and managing personal finance, these are two different things.
Absolutely.
And so we have started that. My question is, we always think about insurance, which is a risk cover. We are listening to some experts saying that as soon as you get a job, you get yourself assured for at least 1 crore of rupees.
Yeah.
What is your opinion?
Yeah, I completely agree, because what happens is for most people, if the fees is whatever it is, the fees has been paid by the parent or it is paid by a loan. So in case something happens to the child, then how will the parent pay the loan? So that is where maybe it takes even a 10-15 lakh insurance when he joins as a student. But the minute he gets a job, he should take a insurance. You know, madam, one very important thing is when a 35-year-old gets a cancer or a kidney failure, the first thought is he says, oh God, I wish I had taken more insurance. Because तभी उसको लगता है अभी तो मेरे को मिलेगा ही नहीं. So जब मिल जाता है तभी ले लेना चाहिए. 1 crore does not sound like a very big figure because आप सोचो 10 साल बाद 20 साल बाद वो अमाउंट बहुत छोटा होगा. So हर एक की अपनी requirement के हिसाब से they should take. So if there is a boy whose parents are very rich, okay, father is a vice president, mother is a doctor, and that he does not really need to take too much insurance because okay, parents will miss him emotionally but not financially. But if a boy is supporting his family, father is not well or father has died, he's got a mother who can't earn, he's got younger brothers and sisters, he needs more insurance because in case of his death, the family is looking forward to his cash every month ke ghar chale. Whereas for the other boy, it's not like that. Paisa kamaya, nahi kamaya, to be, there's enough money in the house. So har ek ka different hota hai answer. And so I also say when, a boy, Hindu boy marries a Muslim girl or something, when they have a marriage outside the community and they have outside the family permission, then they also need to take a big insurance because if some death happens, then the family treats them very badly after that. So har ek ka answer will be very different. Some people need insurance, some people don't need insurance. If your children are settled, educated and settled, then at 55 or 52 you don't need insurance. But at 52, if you have a young child still in school or college, then you need insurance. So har ek ka answer depend hoga, but 1 crore to I think. And also very importantly, ma'am, now insurance is available, something called pure term insurance. Term insurance means 8,000 ka premium mein 1 crore ka sum assured mil jayega, ya to 7,000 ka premium mein 1 crore ka mil jayega. Then there's no question of affordability. If I told you 1 crore का इंश्योरेंस चाहिए, 10 लाख रुपया भरो, तो बच्चा बोलेगा अरे मैं कमा ही रहा हूँ 5 लाख, मैं 10 लाख कहाँ से भरूंगा? Whereas 7,000-8,000 rupees anybody can afford. So young kids can also afford. Term insurance is available, and so there is awareness also. पहले भी term insurance था, but awareness नहीं था. Agent आपको बताता नहीं था. Today you can buy it online. So I think. But I'm very happy that you have at least started this thing because many people come into the organization and they have no clue. Company also does not have any budget for teaching them personal finance. So कोई सिखाता नहीं है, बच्चा फिर वही करता है जो माँ बाप ने किया, गलत हो सही हो, they listen to them and then that is what happens. So I think it's a very good initiative. I think every school should do from 7th standard, 8th standard, they should teach them what is a bank, what is a mutual fund, basic तो सिखाओ. ताकि उस कॉलेज को आते आते at least he knows how to manage some of those things. So that's a very good thing that you're doing. I wish more people did it.
Sir, could I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
My name is RSR Murthy.
Yes, sir.
My question is about how advisable is it to put some of your property, let's say in HUF instead of in your own personal name? I'm asking, of course, from the point of view of your experience with various of your clients and or your whomever you advise.
See, from a taxation point of view, I'm very, very worried about newly formed HUF and transferring of assets and all. Because this government, if you see, is extremely left oriented. Okay, in India you have only full left or half left or going to the left, right? So only you don't have a right government. So very good chance that one day morning they will say HUF is banned, because as of today HUF is only for tax reduction.
Absolutely.
So that you run that risk that you take the trouble to do all this, you pay the duty and you transfer the asset, and then you find by nikal gaya. HUF can't file a return from 2024. ऐसा कुछ amendment आ जाएगा. So that you have to be worried. Otherwise, it's okay. Because rental income can always be taxed in the hands of the HUF. But also understand one thing. Property as an investment is not too great because it's a lot of headache. Because the tenant will call and say that pani leak ho raha hai, ye ho raha hai. All that you have to attend. So giving property on rent and all, and in an older age, at the age of 70, you don't want to be running around for the carpenter or a plumber, right? So it's a little headache wala asset which requires some maintenance. So that you have to be careful.
So in general, if one already has 1 or 2 houses, you would advise not to go for additional investments in property.
Absolutely, because you have to understand that in India, you cannot just give it to a real estate manager. You have to manage it yourself. So finding a tenant, making sure that the tenant agreement is signed, that the tenant doesn't do anything hanky-panky in the house, or, you know, even if a tenant's servant commits suicide in that room, police case, landlord ko bulao, it's a lot of headache. So you have to be careful about it.
Sure.
That
Sure.
that is the worry.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So let me now continue with what I was talking about is, so how much money, why women should have more, and saving versus investing. Yeah, we covered all that which we, Professor Mani, all that which we covered in the promise we have done. So we can do more than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me ask you some very simple things. If you have a kid at home, and if you can do a 3,000 rupee SIP for the kid right from day one, when the kid is born or the kid is under 5, you realize that you can put together something like 100 crores for that kid by the time the kid is 45, 50, or maybe 60, right? That's the kind of amount you can accumulate, which means if you can do 30,000 per month SIP for the kid, when the kid is 1, and you ask the kid to take over from you at the age of 25 for the kid, or 24 for the kid, that kid can accumulate 1,000 crores. So these are numbers which I'm throwing about, and believe me, these are true. If you see the Birlas, you're talking of 180 years of compounding, right? So 180 years of compounding creates this kind of wealth. What does wealth do for them? Well, wealth allows your kid to take more risk. So if you see the risk that the Birlas took in telecom, they lost a lot of money, but they could lose a lot of money because their grandfather knew about compounding. Maybe our grandfathers didn't know. So at least we know. So we should be leaving a heirloom for the kids, and what is the thing that you have to teach your children is, do not touch this money. I keep telling them telling parents that when you sow a seed of a mango seed, you know that the mango tree will give you mangoes. You do not know how many mangoes, you do not know how long, but what do you tell the children? Don't cut the tree. Jitna aam chahiye wo tod lo, lekin jhaad mat kato, because the jhaad can become a real 1,000 crore tree. And one more question I ask is, आप आम खा रहे हो, एक आम में कितने गुठली होती है? तो एक ही गुठली होती है, और एक गुठली में कितना आम होता है? That is something which we can't answer. The answer is infinite, right? So that is the kind of money that can happen. So now let me answer questions like, I was happy that Kavita ma'am asked about insurance. So how much of insurance do you need? Obviously, younger people will need more insurance. Older people will need less insurance, because I'm assuming that by the time you're 54, 55, your children are settled. So the children are not dependent on you. Only person who is now dependent on you could be your wife, assuming that she is not working. If she is also working, then obviously you don't need any more life insurance. That is the time when you throw away your life insurance policy. Suppose you took it when you're 25 and you took it till you're 55. At 55, you say, okay, I don't need any insurance. However, at 55, if you have a child who is still studying in college or school or dependent on you, you need insurance. If your wife is not working, you need insurance, because you might die at 58, but your wife could live till 100, right? So for another 40 years, she needs to have money. So depending on that. Second, do you need medical insurance? Answer is yes. Okay, let me go one step behind. How to take term insurance? You must buy it online. It is cheaper to buy it online. Now let me come to the second one which we need. We need medical insurance. Medical insurance is always nice if you can buy it in a group. Any group of teachers, group of employees, anything. When you buy it as a group, it is much cheaper, and the enforcement is easy, because they don't like to deny claims in a group, because they feel others will also know, they will also react, right? So therefore people don't do that. People, the insurance company does not refuse a claim in a group insurance. Group insurance, better compliance is there. So you will definitely get the claim. So take something like that. But very important that insurance, medical insurance, you do not buy it online. You please buy it through an agent. Agent should preferably be younger to you. If you're 60, look for a 40-year-old agent. If you're 20, again look for a 40-year-old agent, because a 40-year-old agent, I'm assuming, means a guy who's been in the business for 20 years. Now, when you buy it from a 22-year-old, he or she after some time will say, "Nahi, maine to chhod diya, main abhi nahi kar rahi hu." I don't want that to happen. because this guy should be able to fill up the form, process it. It's a very painful process dealing with the insurance companies for medical insurance. Death claim, it's easier to deal with because there's only one form to be filled and the death certificate to be attached and the payment will be made, right? So that talks about insurance. Don't take any other insurance which you don't understand. Critical illness, if you don't understand, don't take, because it's a good one, but if your insurance agent can't explain it to you properly, don't take, because it's not so easy. And for heaven's sake, don't take cancer insurance, etc. Take a big medical insurance, take a top up, super top up, whatever it is, but don't take specific insurance. Why do you assume that you will get cancer? What happens if you get kidney failure? The cancer insurance fails, right? So don't take insurance for any specific one, just take general medical insurance. So that is as far as insurance is concerned. As far as mutual funds are concerned, you're better off going to an agent, seeking his help and sitting with him and learning. If you don't learn, then you shouldn't be investing, because like madam said, we've started teaching about finance. That's a very good thing. But even at 60, remember, you got 30, 40 years to go. And senior citizen frauds in this country are huge. I see them very, very regularly. Let me give you at least one story. There was this guy who's a very senior retired person, and he was unable to go to the ATM, so he would give his credit card, his debit card, to his nephew. His nephew would withdraw 5,000 rupees. So 2-3 times in a month, he would withdraw 5,000 rupees and give it to him. And so after some time, he came and said, I think there is shortfall in my account to the extent of 60,000-70,000 rupees over a 4-5 year period. I'm not very sure what is happening. So we also just couldn't find. So I asked him the simple questions. Did your nephew ever withdraw 10,000? He said, no, all my debits would be 5,000. That was right. He was making payments to the society. He was staying in a senior citizen place. So, for all their charges, etc., he was paying by check. The very little cash that he was paying. And we didn't understand. So we said, okay, let us do some investigation. So I kept on asking him, how much? So then he said, there are times when my nephew withdraws and I get 2 SMSs of 5,000 rupees from the bank. So when he asked his nephew said, nahi, wo kuch ho jata hoga. But then when I checked his SMS, I found that there were 2 withdrawals. So the nephew was very smart. He was withdrawing twice and giving him once, but he was not doing it every time. That was not a pattern. He was doing it sometimes. So which meant we just didn't understand. Now I can tell you it sounds very simple, but took us a lot of time. So then luckily some of us could pull strings. We got the video from the bank and we knew. So we told this man that, look, your nephew has been cheating you. He has taken money and he has not given it to you. You know what this man said? He started laughing. He said, "ठीक है, थोड़ा advance में ले लिया, क्या हो गया?" He did not have the ability to fight him because he was the only support he had in the world, right? He had no kids. His wife had died and he was only dependent on this boy. He was his mama and his sister had died. So he said, he laughed. He said, it's okay. It's his own money. मेरे मरने के बाद मैं उसी को देने वाला हूँ. I wish he had asked me and taken. Now there are 2 things to worry about. One, I don't think he said it very happily. He laughed at it, but I think he was a little saddened. And the truth is, he could have done nothing, even assuming that he had found out. I mean, I don't think at 85 you have the energy and the guts to go to the police, etc., etc. It is too much of a difficult task. So you need to find somebody who will manage your money, being other than your children, some nephew, niece, friend's daughter, friend's son, somebody who stays nearby. Because if your kids are far away, and that is something all of us dread. You are stuck somewhere in Bombay and your kids are in New Zealand or in US. Another very important thing which you have to do is to learn how to use technology. Because if you don't know how to use technology, it's going to be very difficult for you to communicate with your children, grandchildren, etc. So the best way your children can look after you is by using technology. Put video cameras all over the house, give you, do FaceTime with them, do phone calls, do Zoom calls, do geo calls, whatever. So all those things, you cannot say, I don't know, I don't understand, I don't need technology. That is wrong. All of us need technology, right? Like it or don't like it, but we all have to adapt to technology. I think the coronavirus pushed a lot of us to learn technology. I don't think many of us were not very comfortable doing such webinars. Even today, I prefer doing a live webinar, but right now I don't think we have a choice. But I'm doing 1 or 2 webinars, I mean, at least 2-3 webinars a week. So I'm not complaining, but yeah, keeping yourself updated with technology, learning, keeping on learning, creating groups, teaching the group, because because you're a senior citizen. Let's say you're 6 years of age, you can teach and you can also learn. I keep saying this, all my gurus in recent times have been much younger than me, whether it is learning how to do a video recording or learning how to set up the camera for a webinar. All these things you have got to learn it from younger people. Younger people are better than you in these things, and there's no reason why you can't learn. You've got enough brains to learn. So by keeping yourself active mentally and physically, at least you're keeping away dementia and things like that. India is becoming a big dementia capital of the world also. It is huge. So you need to get into those groups, Alzheimer's, dementia, finding out how it happens, what are the early signals, going for tests, all those things. All these things are necessary for doing your retirement planning. If you ask me, geriatric care and geriatric money is a huge thing. Completely not crowded, and there's a huge demand. I mean, there are people who can afford it and a lot of people who will need the government to subsidize. So we will need all those things. I called, like I'm repeating myself if I tell you that I called it the retirement time bomb. There is a huge population in India which is going to retire, which is completely unprepared physically, mentally, financially, emotionally to be able to handle retirement. Let us not be in that group. Let us learn to plan for these things. There are enough blogs and websites available. Go there, read. US and Canada are up, and even Japan, but we can't read Japanese, are done amazing pioneering work. So first step I keep telling this is, if you meet somebody from US, I met this girl who runs a help center for senior citizen houses. Senior citizens. Her youngest customer she has is 80 and the oldest is 110. Let me repeat, 110. Whereas in India, it is customary to say, "Arey, aap 60 saal ke ho gaye ho, abhi akele mat jao, main gaadi bechta hu," and things like that. That's not true. The 110-year-old cooks, 110-year-old banks, 110-year-old drives and comes to meet her. So what does she do? She makes sure that there is a system by which all these people call each other, and if one person does not pick up the phone, some help goes. But please remember, Canada is a country of distances. So the closest help to this man who is 110 is about 30 kilometers away. That is a big distance. That's about 50 miles. When you're speaking Canada, you have to speak 50 miles. So 50 miles somebody has to drive. So to and fro is 100. So they have been requesting him to shift to a closer location. We have done nothing. Geriatric care in this country is zero, right? So there is tremendous scope from a business point of view, from a financial point of view, to take care of geriatric centers, medically, emotionally, everything is, so that is one more thing. So, Mani, any more questions? Let me take some more questions if need be.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, this is Satish, sir. Hello.
Yeah,
hello.
Satish.
Sir, I just wanted to check with you. When you mentioned about Mediclaim, what would be an appropriate amount, number one? Number two is the floater better or is an individual policy better?
Sorry?
Is the floater better or is the policy better?
I heard individual policy is better or?
Floater.
Okay, let me answer it in parts. First of all, I think you should go to a medical insurance professional because it is getting more and more complicated. For example, if suppose I tell you 25 lakhs is a good amount to take a policy, you need not take a 25 lakh insurance. You need to take a 5 lakh insurance, then you take a super top up of 20 lakhs. That makes more sense, that it becomes cheaper. But don't take a floater if people are of very, very different ages. Suppose you have a 22-year-old daughter and you are 55 years of age, don't take a floater with her. because you pay the premium of the oldest person. So husband and wife, 5 years age gap, take a floater. But otherwise don't take a floater. So take a floater and a super top up, but please don't try buying it on your own. Buy it through an agent because it's a complicated product and claim banana. So let me tell you something very simple. Suppose you have been identified, you have a hernia problem. You have been identified in the month of February, but you don't do anything about it, and you get yourself operated in the month of September. You have to have one more, and you go and then make a claim. That claim is likely to get rejected, saying, oh, this was it was identified in February, you should have attended to in February. So it's very important for you to know that you should take one letter in September saying that you have a hernia problem and the operation is in September. How many of us will know these things? So you need a professional's help while taking medical insurance. So yeah, floater is good, but a super top up is much cheaper. The super top up pays up only after the first claim. So first claim is 5 lakhs. So if you have a 7 lakh claim, the first 5 lakhs will be paid by the first insurance and 2 lakhs will be paid by the super top up. Because the super top up is so cheap, is cheap because it does not pay for the first 5 lakhs. So therefore it is better to take that way. But again, this is, I mean,
and what's
like
the
they say, this is,
amount?
sorry?
What's the thumb rule for the amount, sir?
There is no thumb rule. You only hope that there's no fire accident, because fire accidents are very expensive. Other than that, about 5 lakhs plus 25 lakhs or should be more than enough.
And this continues to the age of 80 at least?
Yeah, it continues till the age of 80, 85. The government companies continue. The private companies may act funny, and please be very, very, very careful about paying the premium on time, because suddenly at the age of 78, you forget to pay the premium, you are in trouble. The policy lapses, none of these guys will renew it. They will find enough excuses not to renew it.
Thank you.
I am Deepak. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, Deepak, please ask.
Yeah, see, Mediclaim, what is really happening? I'm 70.
Yeah.
And I took the Mediclaim of 3 lakhs about 25 years back.
Yeah, okay.
Now, at the age of 70,
yeah,
I have not made even a single claim.
Okay.
At the age of 70, the premium becomes so high that you simply can't afford it. So how does one go about it?
See, this is, I keep saying this about insurance. You cannot make a claim just because you have taken an insurance, right? So you should be very happy that you have never made a claim, but you should also realize that if you make one claim, that could be big, could be 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, could be anything. So
today the premium of 3 lakhs is 30,000 rupees.
Yeah, but what is the choice? What is the cost of not having that insurance? That is what you have to see. Because see, basically you will definitely with age, your hernia, your cataract and all will definitely happen. So for those you will get reimbursed, and baki to it is just you're putting good money. Let us look at it this way. You were 22 years of age and you took term insurance. Will you crib that at 52, अरे यार मेरा term insurance waste हो गया, मैं मरा ही नहीं?
I'm not worried that, I'm not cribbing that I didn't take any claim. Now, what happens with age going up? I mean, at the age of 75, the premium will perhaps become 45 or 50,000 rupees.
See, we have to only hope that competition keeps the premium little low, but बाकी तो कुछ assume नहीं कर सकते हैं. तो क्या करें? Longevity brings a lot of challenges. Let me give you another problem. You are 75 years of age and you have a tooth problem. So your doctor says ये दांत replace कर दो, अगला 20 साल रहेगा. And you say, अरे मुझे पता नहीं whether I will live, so why should I spend so much on my teeth? But if you don't spend on your teeth, you will not bite your food properly. You will have digestion problems. You will have stomach problems. You will have all other problems. So at each stage, you have to take a call. Do I spend so much? Like if you go for a full dental work, 2-3 implants, etc., it will cost you 2-3 lakhs. So what are we talking about? Will you be able to take a decision? The decision is based on knowing how long you will live. And Bhagwan ne wo sala number apne haath mein nahi diya. You don't know how long you're going to live. So if you know you're going to live till 100, at 75, you don't mind spending on your teeth. But if you die at 76, what happens? All that money is wasted.
And now there is a second question. How does this super top-up operate? Suppose I have got a base policy, which is of 3 lakhs. And I have taken a 10 lakh super top-up with a deductible of 3 lakhs.
Correct.
I got a claim of 5 lakhs.
Correct.
But because of the room rent limitation,
Huh.
I am paid only 4.5 lakh rupees. So can I claim that 50,000 rupees also from the super top up or a room
Super top up will have the same rules as the base policy. So they will not, as long as the claim amount is less than 3 lakhs, they will not come in.
No,
Forget
claim
how much
amount
you
is
are being
greater
paid.
than claim amount is balance is 5 lakhs. The total claim is 5 lakhs. 3 lakhs is paid. But
So they will
admissible
also
claim
pay
was solely for,
proportionate.
they will give it proportionate.
They will also give proportionately, especially if you take from the same company.
Okay.
It will also pay proportionately. So you see, if you have a room rent limitation and all, you can take one more policy from one more company. That you can do again with for 1 lakh. You can take that, or something else. Or just relax at 70. If you have not made any claim, anyway you have other wealth to take care of. Then don't bother too much. All of us will anyway create some other wealth also, right? So another 5-10 lakhs will go out of your corpus. As long as you have a surplus, don't worry.
But this some limitation will apply to super top up also.
Yes, mostly they will also apply. If it is, especially if it's from the same company. If it's a new company, you'll have to see what are their rules.
So super top up policy, hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Super top up policy doesn't have a sublimit clause.
Correct, but if you
base
take it
policy
from,
is a sublimit clause.
Yeah, I know, but I do not know how it will function. But it is safe to assume that the same rules they will apply and they will pay less only. If they pay more, great, but they will not pay just because these people have rejected. Suppose your claim was 3,25,000. Only 25,000 is applicable in the super top up. The first 3 lakhs anyway is not applicable. So the short payment in the first 3 lakhs, you will have to suffer it yourself. Out of the 25,000, what rules apply? I don't know. Maybe they'll pay up the 25,000. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Sir, this is Murthy again. I
Yes,
have
sir.
a question regarding medical insurance. Is it advisable to have a medical insurance policy, a single medical insurance policy with a public sector bank like Andhra Bank, Arogyadam, or any of these schemes?
No. You should have it with a public sector company which is in the insurance business. Try to understand what is happening. They give you some policy like this because they have a contract with, say, New India. Suppose it is Andhra Bank. They have an agreement with New India. The day they break that agreement, your cover also goes away. You're much better off if you have a contract with New India rather than depend on Andhra Bank's contract with New India. Don't depend on the third person's contract.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, this is Satish once again.
Yeah, Satish.
Sir, the term insurance that you spoke about and which should be taken online should be taken maximum till the age of 65. Am I right?
I wouldn't even think 65. I would think 55 because you are trying to cover the money that you would have been earning. So when you are around, you bring money and give it to your family. If you are not around, who will give that money? So therefore you buy that policy. Second, you buy that policy till you think your liabilities are over. Suppose you are 55 and you have 2 children, both have got educated, finished their education and gone. Your wife is also educated, she is also working. Then typically nobody is financially dependent on you. They're only emotionally dependent on you. So after 55 itself, you do not need it.
And in case you have a term insurance and something that you would have taken about 15-20 years ago, let's say you had 3 insurers and one insurer has not been told that you have an insurance policy with the other one. The claim rejection is possible?
Not after 20 years. Immediately maybe, but after 20 years they cannot bring that up. But yeah, it's a mistake, but don't disturb it now.
Yeah, we didn't
but assume that they will pay because it's in a 20-year policy, they cannot give such a stupid excuse that you didn't inform. But what you have done is wrong, but it doesn't matter. Don't try to correct it now and give them, don't tell them about it. But they will know when they're settling the claim.
They will know that. They will know it from that.
Yeah.
Subra, I have one question to ask related to what Kavita was telling us. All of us in the management institutes do try to do this personal finance planning activities for the students.
Okay.
notwithstanding that this is a crowd which is doing their MBA and maybe in the age group of 20 to 25, a lot of them are still not financially independent unless they have done 2 years of work experience before doing the MBA.
Correct.
So I sometimes wonder, whether we should call the parents and do a training for them and not the students. So I'd like to hear some of your experiences on perspective.
Actually, you should do for both. You should do for parents and children separately. Because parents will not ask questions like when I do for parents, I don't ask them too many questions like who should pay for children's say marriage expenses. So why are Indian marriages grand? Because parents spend money. If the children have to spend their own money, the 28-year-old will have 2-3 lakhs to spend. He will not have 25 lakhs to spend. So those are questions that who should pay for higher education. Now these are which you don't want to ask in the present, but both have to be counseled separately.
Sure.
Rather than group. But yes, both of them have to be addressed because parents themselves don't. See, we just assume that ladka hai to isko finance aata hai, ladki hai to isko cooking aata hai. Both are not true.
Correct.
We make that big stupid assumption. That's wrong.
I think some of the best master chefs known internationally are men. So
even nationally also.
Oh yes, okay, nationally and internationally.
No, one point I wanted to make. Am I unmuted? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one issue is about the teaching children about frugality. At least when we were growing up, we didn't have that much money. Our parents were earning 500-600 rupees a month, and family of 6 was surviving in that. I think that today too much money is in the hand of young people too soon, and the whole way of living frugally is lost. For example, even in a family, eating out, for example, is sorry.
Yeah, can hear you.
Eating out, etc., or buying branded clothes and other things, and holidays and going to pubs, etc., is taking a priority, and therefore huge amount of money is going in that. So learning to live a frugal and sensible life is one part of education, I suppose. And second thing is this teaching about the compounding effect. People may know about the compounding as relates to investment, but compounding of expenses is most of the people are quite, kind of blind to.
So I think see, compounding works everywhere. Compounding works in health. In health also.
It works. So, but most of the time, people, young people, I've heard them saying that if we do SIP, we will earn so much. But that logic, they do not apply that how much, their expenses are going to grow, and therefore what sort of corpus they will require. So there is a bit of a, optimism bias. You can say that, okay, we are MBAs, we are starting at 12-15 lakhs of rupees salary or whatever. So we'll retire rich, but it's a sadly kind of a, situation. And that best years, early years of say 25 to 40 or whatever years are lost out with virtually zero saving. If you ask today 30-year-old, 40-year-old fellow, what is your saving? Probably beyond the mandatory saving, they would have hardly another saving.
So I think parents are partially to be blamed because when children stay with parents, Indian parents don't take rent. They don't take for food, any of those things. So I tell parents, you take money from them for rent, for food, etc., and put it in the mutual fund and give it back to them when they buy a house. But get them to pay for all that, because when the kid gets 1.5 lakhs per month salary, which is what you said, starting salary, he thinks the 1.5 lakh रुपए का फोन लेना ठीक है, but आपने उसमें से 30,000 रुपया रेंट ले लिया, 20,000 रुपया खर्चा ले लिया, तो उसके पास पैसा नहीं
थोड़ा ज़्यादा लेवल हो जाए. Agree.
हाँ. So then don't feel guilty because you know you're going to anyway give it back to them. Another thing which works is when the kids are very young, when 5th standard, 6th standard, take them to places like Crawford Market and all and show them, boss, यहाँ पे चीज मिलती है, सस्ती है, यहाँ खरीदा जा सकता है. I think माँ बाप खुद frugality भूल गए हैं, अभी बोलते हैं बच्चे frugal नहीं है. So foreign travel में कौन लेके गया? माँ बाप लेके गए. अच्छा, और माँ बाप बोलते हैं अच्छा, if you study well, I'll take you to the mall. Now going to a mall can't be entertainment. How can that be entertainment? So they think, oh, buying is necessary. So small things which you start, ask the young kids, whether your children or your grandchildren, Ask them to pay the cash. Let them see that some money has to go for something to come. I have a friend and she's got 2-3 servants, including driver, whom she now pays by cash. Earlier, she used to pay by bank. She gets her children to count the money and thank them every month. Thank you for doing household work, because she says हमको नहीं होता है इसीलिए हम इनको रखते हैं. So उनको पैसा दो, gratitude, ये सब घर में ही सिखाना पड़ता है सर. ये कोई कॉलेज स्कूल नहीं सिखाता है. तो माँ बाप का बहुत कर्तव्य बनता है कि ये सब सिखाएं. बच्चे टीवी से तो ये कुछ सीखेंगे नहीं, माँ बाप को ही सिखाना पड़ता है. So it's our duty to teach our children and we hope that हमारा DNA है तो defective नहीं होगा तो सीख लेंगे.
Sir, I had a question.
Yeah, please.
This is regarding certain health insurance policies that are available for treatment abroad. What are your views on those policies? Number one.
Which one?
There are health insurance policies.
Yeah, which one?
For treatment abroad. There are multiple. Options. I mean, many people have those policies.
Okay.
Do you have any suggestions on that? Number two is the question relating to certain specific illnesses. Like, there are some programs that are, say, cancer protection programs or critical illness programs. And in case you're detected with cancer, then you get some 20 lakh rupees or 30 lakh rupees. That is the sum assured, and that is what you use for your cancer treatment. Your views on that?
Critical illness is very difficult to understand. You have to be identified with the problem and you have to be alive for 90 days after it is detected. Otherwise, it won't get paid. That is the critical illness rule. So with cancer, people live for 90 days, but with kidney failure, the kidney failure is both kidneys have to fail. Now, with both kidneys failed, whether a person will live for 90 days is a questionable thing, and the critical illness policy will be paid only after 90 days. So you may not live that long. Secondly, don't buy it unless you understand exactly. For example, legal is a difficult thing to understand. Medicine is more difficult to understand. Critical illness is the place where legal meets medical. So it's very, very difficult to understand. For example, if it says heart attack arising out of pain in the shoulder, it may not cover heart attack arising out of pain in the stomach. Now, this is impossible for you and me to understand. So when you're taking the policy, make sure you get the policy document in advance, which they can give you, and you get it clarified by your doctor, preferably a specialist, a cardiologist or somebody who will read and understand. He has to be a friend for you to do this, and only then you should buy. Otherwise, we are under an illusion that if something happens, they will pay. Secondly, the heart attack has to leave a permanent impact on the cardiogram. The cardiogram should show that the permanent damage to the heart or the brain or whatever. It is very difficult to understand. So most doctors, when they see the document, they don't buy it. We buy it saying, oh, 6,000 rupees only, 10,000 rupees only, and we buy it. And I've seen people being paid the claim in case of cancer and all. So it does. So first job in medical insurance is to understand what you're buying. It's very complicated a topic. That is one thing. So that, and you said about treatment abroad.
Medical insurance is specifically meant for treatment abroad.
No, it's not really meant for anything, because critical illness, see, there are two types of medical.
Not critical illness. Mediclaim policies that are applicable for treatment abroad. It enables you to go abroad and get treated, and there are very large sums of money as a part of those policies. A policy cost 1.5 to 2.5 lakh rupees, and it will cover a couple, but where the quantum of treatment can run into huge amounts.
Yeah, but today, do you really need to go abroad given the Indian medical conditions? Whether you will want to go, the only people I see who go abroad for treatment are people covered by the UN medical cover, because they can go even for their hip replacement and knee replacement, they go abroad. But I doubt whether you really need to do it. But I don't know of these rates, whether these rates are worthwhile and how long you will pay. Will you pay when you're 80? You may not want to pay. You may say, okay, now I don't need it.
Annual premium.
No, sorry.
Insurance policy.
No, but how long will you keep it? Assuming you buy it at 55, 60, will you pay it when you're 80, when you're 85? You may not want to pay, and you may say, okay, let me get treated in the country. So I really don't know. I've seen them, but I've never considered them. So I really don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah. So one point which I've...
Thank you so very much. It was wonderful.
Yeah, my pleasure. So one point which I have not covered, and surprisingly we didn't get asked by anybody, is how much should you make a will? The law has been amended in the month of March. So in Bombay, you need a will if you want the society to transfer the flat to your wife. So let me clarify that if your husband and wife are joint property owners, you still need a will, because there is your half and her half. So you need a will, she needs a will, and you could even make a joint will, right? So all this is important. Get your will made, get it notarized. You need not get it registered, but please get it notarized. Making a will, notarizing a will together should cost you about 10,000 rupees. Not making a will can cost you 10 lakhs in terms of pain. So don't even consider whether it is worthwhile. Don't even go to Google and search, because somebody will tell you notarizing is not necessary. You can do it on a plain piece of paper. It does not work that way, because if you do it on a plain piece of paper, you give it to your society will transfer it to your wife, no problem. But when your wife tries to sell it and the lender is HDFC Bank or Axis Bank, they will say, how do I know this bill is genuine? What happens if the children come and make a claim? So your children will be called, they will have to make a disclaimer. Then the bank will ask you, how do I know that your father had only 2 children? There's really, you can say my father had only 2 children, but it is your word against his word. So you need to make a will. You have to say, so and so, my wife, whom I married on this date, through whom I have these 2 kids, name them, put your PAN number, her PAN number, make it properly, get it notarized. The whole thing costs 10,000 rupees. So if you're in Bombay, why do you even think about it here? Everybody's house is worth at least 1 crore. It is 0.10% of that. Please don't hesitate. Just go and make your will. It's the most important document. We ignore that because we always take it for granted. What we have, we think, ye to mera hai, koi problem nahi hoga. We are busy acquiring wealth. We are not taking care of our wealth. Very, very important to make a will. And I have been a treasurer in our building for 20 years. Believe me, it is very painful if somebody comes and says they can't sell the house because the buyer, which could be an Axis Bank or an HDFC Bank, is refusing to disburse the money because you did not have a will. So make a will, get it notarized, keep the copy in the place. If you're giving the money to your children equally, you don't need to explain. But if you are giving more to your son, saying, oh, I spent more on my daughter's wedding, so I'm giving more to my son, explain it to him. Or if you're giving more to your daughter because you spent more on your son's education, explain it to him. It is your money. You can give it to the street dog for all you care, but explain to the children what you're doing. And because if you don't explain, it leaves a bitter taste, you know. So therefore, be careful.
Can you make a joint will also?
Yes, you can make a joint will. You can make a separate will. Both can be made.
But joint will can be made for all properties?
No, but joint will you make only for joint properties, no? Because otherwise you will have to make a separate will. Suppose you own a property, your wife owns a property, and you have a joint property. Only for the joint property you can make a joint will. Otherwise, you have to make a separate will. So when you're in your separate will, you can say 50% of this flat in Rajeshwari building belongs to me, 50% belongs to my wife. In case I predecease, it should belong to her. In case she predeceases, it should belong to me. That declaration can be there and she can sign. But yes, joint will can be made, and make sure that you make your will, please, for heaven's sake, because I've seen families suffer. Then we go and write articles saying 15 crore cases pending in the courts. Cases are pending in the courts because people don't make a will. It's a very, very simple document. Make it and make sure that your kids don't curse you after your death. Yeah, Professor Mani, I thought you were to ask something.
No,
I'm at the end, so.
Yeah, fine. We are still, we still have.
Sir, I have a question. I'm Deepak here.
Yeah, Deepak.
Sir, do you recommend NPS along with some part of the investment apart from mutual fund to get into NPS also?
If you have, depending on your age, and if you have your employer contributing to it, yes. Otherwise, stick to a mutual fund. That's good enough. You don't need an NPS, but NPS डालने में भी कोई अर्ज नहीं है. I'm indifferent to NPS. I'm not saying you must put in NPS. I'm not saying you should not put in NPS.
Okay, I thought of starting investment for my kids, when like my elder son is getting into 18th year, after this October only. So I thought of starting some investment on his name and which he can continue once this starts earning also.
Yeah,
So
then the mutual fund is better than an NPS, because NPS we do not know. See, NPS I'm worried about only one thing. It is handled by the government. Government can make any changes in the rules.
Okay, sir.
कल बोलेगा NPS has to put 50% money in PSU shares. आप क्या करोगे? When government is one end, no, you just can't trust. It's like a monkey with a bottle of whiskey in the hand. You never know what they can do. Till 4 years ago or 3 years ago, we were saying equities are tax free. अभी उसमें 10% टैक्स लाया. कहाँ भी कुछ भी करता रहता है. तो suddenly बोलेगा नहीं, NPS का cost बढ़ा दिया. NPS का amount taxable है. We have reduced. So वो सब बंदरगिरी they will keep doing. So that is my worry.
Okay.
And NPS में mismanagement होगा तो किसी को कुछ पता भी नहीं चलेगा. Whereas if you put in, say, an HDFC mutual fund or a Templeton mutual fund or somewhere, if something goes wrong, everybody is watching. Now you don't find so many. Do you find any article about any NPS ka portfolio? Nobody writes, nobody knows, nobody talks. So it's not very popular. So you're better off putting into funds which a lot of people have put money, because even if you are not watching, somebody else is watching.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, this is Satish. I have 2 questions.
I can't hear you.
Sir, this is Satish.
Yeah, Satish.
I have 2 questions. Number one is, is it good for an 18-year-old son to start a PPF immediately?
Yes, why not? But don't put 1.5 lakhs, put only 5,000 or 10,000. And because he has to put more money in equity. So if he can save, if you can save, put more money in equity, because he's going to touch it only after 60, 70 years. So बहुत time है. So PPF में थोड़ा छोटा amount डालो, but खोल दो, उसमें कोई problem नहीं.
Second question is, when we speak about power of compounding, obviously equity comes into play. And when we invest through mutual funds, when you invest through mutual funds, we find that equity mutual funds haven't delivered any kind of results in the last 10 years.
Actually, what has happened is, it is like if your boss is doing your appraisal in the worst period of your career, and say so many years you have not achieved anything, it's a wrong thing, right? So if you take the returns as of February, you would find that they have achieved. But if COVID has hit everybody, right? So COVID has hit the markets also. But if you have done this exercise in March, it would have looked disastrous. But now it doesn't look so bad. So if you take your funds as of today, if you see, it may not have done so badly. But yeah, this is not a great time to be doing an appraisal. Best time to be doing an appraisal is in a bull run. You will see that it has done well. In fact, I would think 2009 to 2019, you would have got about 10-11%. That is not bad at all, because you were getting about 7.5-8% in PPF. So if you get 2-3% more than what you have got in PPF, that's the way to look at it, rather than saying previously you were getting 18%. Those high returns have gone, right? When PPF was 12%, equity was giving 14-15%. When PPS is 7, you should expect only 9-10% in equity. Anything about 9-10% is a bonus. It can't sustain.
Any mutual fund.
Any mutual fund. Now, abhi, please understand one thing. Interest rate जब भी घटेगा ना, तो equity returns also will go down. Rental yields will go down. Do you know, if you were a landlord, over the last 3, 4, 5 years, your rents have only been going down or remaining steady. It is not going up at 5% and 10% a year. It's just not going up.
No, my measure of success for an equity mutual fund was not large cap, but the other funds was 12% and above. No,
it should not be 12%. It should be PPF return plus 50% of PPF return. So PPF return is 7%. So 10.5 should be your benchmark. Tomorrow, if PPF return becomes 6, it should become 9. So please tag it proportionately. If anything above 12 is a bonus, about 10.5 itself is a bonus. It cannot sustain, because see, look at it this way. If you start getting 15% return in mid cap, everybody will come into mid cap. That itself will reduce the return. No, if all of us put money in mid cap, then mid cap returns will go down. So therefore it is not sustainable. So PPF plus 50% of PPF or 30% of PPF is a good way to look at it.
Sir, like fee-only advisor for financial planning, are there some insurance professionals also
You don't need for insurance, because term insurance you just go and buy.
Not term insurance, medical insurance I'm talking.
Yeah, in medical insurance,
my experience with the agent has been very bad.
No, then you have to look harder and get a good agent. There are many good agents also, because you will need an agent for while making the claim. Otherwise, these companies will not want to pay the claim at all. So you please search for an agent. You stay in Bombay, right?
Yeah.
या बॉम्बे में एजेंट तो मिल जाएगा सर, कहीं भी जाओ एक अच्छा एजेंट मिल जाएगा. रेफरेंस चेक कर लो, यू विल फाइंड सम 40-45 year old जो 20-25 साल से कर रहा है, वो अच्छा काम करेगा.
No, they promote policies where they got better remuneration.
No, there are no such policies. All policies say pay a flat fee. So उनको कुछ बहुत कमाई नहीं है. And जिसको कमाई है, you tell him how much are you earning. Ask him upfront how much are you earning. If you find that figure is 12,000 or 15,000, then it's fair enough. If he's earning much more, you say this is unfair. You return some of the premium to me. They will do that also. But a real good guy won't return the premium, but he'll make sure that your claim is processed properly. When you go into an insurance company and buy the policy without an agent, your cost remains the same. So there is no incentive for you to bypass the agent. So therefore, you have to go through.
No, I have seen online portals like CoverFox. They give you a lot of information which is helpful. For claim settlement, yes, there is going to be a problem.
Actually, your biggest worry is claim settlement. Your biggest worry is not knowledge. Knowledge to aapko mil jayega. Claim settlement mein, see, I tell you, no, like for example, you need to know that you have to take the current recommendation by the doctor. Then you have to take, अगर एक भी आपने गलती कर दिया, बोलेगा हाँ ये तो February में identify किया था, तुमने September तक postpone किया, so we will not pay the claim. It's a very, very dangerous, slimy business. So you have to be very careful when you're dealing with crooks on the other side. Insurance companies are crooks. They're waiting not to make the claim. So one mistake and it's gone. Therefore, you need a good agent. थोड़ा ढूंढिए और आपको मिल जाएगा. Some friend will be able to find you an agent. It should not be very difficult. Life insurance, I'm not saying just go buy online which a company. You are comfortable with HDFC, buy HDFC. You're comfortable with Max, buy Max. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But medical insurance में claim procedure, even for a car accident, ना इतना ये paper दो, वो paper दो, it's not easy to handle them. Therefore, you need an agent.
And financial planning advisor and investment advisors are two different fields, or they are?
No, there is an alphabet soup of people who are available. CFA, CPA, CFP, chartered accountants, CA, engineer, ICW, सब लोग करते हैं ये. कुछ बहुत फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. Actually, get into less complicated things, because two things. One is you have to make sure that your wife understands everything that you buy. Women are reluctant to understand complex products. So if she's not willing to learn, then you stick to one index fund, you stick to one medical insurance, and that's enough. And if you don't have a pension, buy a annuity pension, because those are three things your wife can understand very easily. In one index fund, one annuity, and baki ka bank FD. That is the best thing, because you don't want to complicate it. You may be alert, your wife may not be alert. So those things you have to worry about. So if she's not willing to learn, then better to simplify. If she's willing to learn, or if you say your son is going to look after it, then it's a different thing. Otherwise, get into less complicated products. I tell this to everybody who's above 55. Products ko less complicate karo, because we in the financial industry love to make complicated products so that we can make money. Aapka paisa nahi banega. But we will make money by complicating the product. So don't buy complicated products. Stick to index funds. That's good enough.
Sir, this is Satish.
Yes, Satish.
I want to give a piece of my experience to everybody.
Yeah.
I had a mutual fund advisor.
Okay.
Extremely competent, very, very good technically, mathematically very good, and a chartered accountant, professor of accounts in a given coaching class, etc.
Okay.
And he gave a pretty decent service in terms of taking the mutual fund. Of course, we went through the regular route. We didn't go through the direct route.
Huh.
But what he would do is, and I understood this just after some time, is that he would charge me 2% for every investment that I was making.
That means
over and above what he was getting from the fund house.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which means that if I invested, let's say 10,000 rupees by way of an SIP, he start with 2% of that, and that was he had made his passive income in perpetuity because of that. And when of course I went back and I learned compounding even better, and I understood that 2% could make a huge difference between if you're going to earn 12% or if you're going to earn 14% or 12, it's going to be massive over a period.
Absolutely.
And he's charging you for nothing, for giving you nothing.
Yes.
So what I want to tell everybody on the panel over here is that there are enough of these scamsters going on. And by the way, if you meet him in all manners, he's very, very decent. And actually, he is actually a very decent person. But you don't realize the charges that they are charging, and they are doing it so unfairly.
So there is easily, I mean, if you want to take Panga, all you have to do is complain to SEBI. The money will be recovered from him and paid to you, because what he's doing is illegal. Either he can charge you a fee or he can sell you a commission product. Now, if you came to me and I charge you 200 rupees or 2%, then I have to do it in the direct plan.
So what
it's completely unfair that he charges. And at 10,000 rupees, this doesn't sound so bad. But the minute you have 1 crore, it means he's making.
I deliberately said that the amount was a much larger amount.
I know. I'm saying at 10,000, it doesn't look so harmful. And so if you were an 18-year-old, you think, okay, 200 rupiya bana raha hai. But the time you're 45 and your portfolio is worth 2-3 crores, you're saying, boss, this guy is making 9 lakhs out of me.
So what I did, sir, is that in that case, what I did is I immediately stopped the SIP. I stopped the SIP. I left the money as it is. And I said that, look, whenever I want to redeem it, I will do it. And I took the same plan because the scheme was good. I went and started a direct scheme.
Yeah.
I think that
no, such people do exist. So best just to take it from him in writing. How much will you charge me? Or you will charge me nothing because the fund house is paying it to you. So congratulations. And that is how you because people need advice, but it can't be so expensive. So, and what happened to you is you learned it quickly, or whenever you learned it, you knew how to shift. What happens to people who don't know how to shift? Then they make big mistakes. So.
No, it's also very, very human, isn't it? Because when the person in front of you is such a nice person, it's very difficult for you to come out of his cudgels and say that no, I want to get out, kind of thing. So
yeah, that is you are showing typical middle class values, and he is not. So, but every cheat you meet is very soft spoken, very, very suave. Charles Sobraj, read about him and you will fall in love with him, even though you know he's such a big cheat. So most of these guys are very, very sophisticated. They know what they have to do. In fact, the senior citizens get cheated only because of this, because they go and spend time with a senior citizen, and senior citizen says, "Arey, my son doesn't spend time with me. This guy is spending so much time with me." So they just open up their bank book and give them everything away.
No, he is my age, but what happens is, I mean, the time that I was asking him for advice, etc., he wasn't. I mean, sometimes he would come over. I'm not saying. Sometimes I used to go to his house, etc. But the day I called him up and said that, look, I want to suspend all my SIPs, he just said, "मैं आज आपके घर में आ सकता हूँ क्या?" He came immediately because he knew the business was at stake. New business was at stake, and I have not withdrawn the money from him. I've kept the money as it is, just because there is an element of trust between him and he's useful in some other ways. But the other SIPs have started direct.
No, but best in such cases is to stop the SIPs. Do not tell him that you're starting it afresh. Just give him some excuse.
I've not told him.
That's okay. And whenever you want to redeem, you redeem so that his income will go down. Right now, he's getting a nice income through you. He's getting a trail. So
he's getting a trailing commission. Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting a trail in perpetuity. First of all, you've got cheated. So accept that you've got cheated, and confront him. There's nothing wrong. Redeeming your money is fine. He had no business doing this to you. You should know that he's getting a trail there. He should then not do something like this.
Sure. Thanks.
Would it be all right to share an online payment issue in this forum?
Sorry? Yeah, please.
I had a very bad experience. I purchased petrol on a debit card.
Okay.
Now, when the debit card was swiped, the machine went blank.
Okay.
There was no slip coming out or no message on the.
Okay.
neither I got an SMS.
Okay.
That amount has been debited.
Okay.
So after waiting for 10-15 minutes, I was traveling from Shirdi to Bombay. So naturally I had to pay him cash. And I took a cash receipt.
Okay.
Now after 90 minutes, I got an SMS saying that the amount has been debited to your account.
Okay.
So I immediately pulled aside and spoke to call center on their fraud number.
Okay. Okay.
So they assured me everything will be done. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay.
So they immediately reversed the credit. I got an account for last 25 years.
Okay.
And I used the net extensively. So they reversed the amount.
Okay.
But they said that this is temporary. They investigate and within 90 days they will settle it.
Okay.
After 90 days, they send me a slip because amount had got debited.
Okay.
So they had a charge slip. So they sent me and said, no, since you used the PIN number, we cannot do anything. Then I went into appeal up to highest level.
Okay.
First they refused, but somehow or the other they refunded the money.
Okay.
Now in this kind of situation, how one should really handle? Because this was a small amount, 2,000 rupees. At times it could be a big amount also.
Yeah, this is quite accidental, and immediately you call the call center also. So they had no business in doing this. In fact, I know one taxi driver who paid 20,000 instead of paying 2,000 by mistake. The pump had, but they reversed it immediately. They said, okay.
So that is all right, because that the pump pump owner must have agreed. Here the pump owner was refusing.
Oh, then it's a fraud. Then it's a fraud.
They say you use PIN, so we cannot penalize the person who refuses.
No, but
because you entered the PIN.
No, but it is very shocking because you have such a long relationship. So you have to tell the bank, have I ever made such a claim?
I made that point. I went to the head of the complaint department. First he refused. And then without any further correspondence, they quietly refunded the money.
Yeah, they do.
But is there a better way of handling this kind of situation?
No, one-off situations like this, you shouldn't worry too much. So, but you make sure that you have a card with a very small limit and make one card with a very big limit. Suppose you have two cards, have one card with 1 lakh limit and one card with 15 lakhs limit. That 15 lakh card you use for an emergency like hospitalization. And 1 lakh card you use it extensively. So in the worst case scenario, maximum you can
your
use
liabilities to the extent. No, this is a debit card. So it's restricted by the amount that you got in the bank.
So my suggestion would be to get yourself a credit card and don't use a debit card, because in a debit card
they charge 2% on the petrol.
It is still worthwhile, because in your debit card, if it gets misused, they can completely empty your bank account. So debit card is far more risky than a credit card. It's okay if they pay 2%. So don't bother too much. It's okay to pay 2%. It's worthwhile. But there are cards which don't charge you the 2% also.
Correct.
So try to get such a card.
Sir,
because what they return to you in points is much more than 2%. So it's okay.
Sir, this is Satish. There are two things.
Yeah, Satish.
Two things that I want to say. One is, I've had a similar experience wherein I ate pizza for 120 rupees.
Okay.
And the guy punched in 1,20,000 rupees. It's happened to me.
But 1,20,000, you won't put your PIN, no?
No. I mean, I know at that moment, and now of course you have a bigger problem, because with that wireless connectivity which has come with the Visa card, that's the big risk. That's what I wanted to say. With that wireless and Visa MasterCard, you can take out 2,000 rupees at any given point in time, and if you have multiple 2,000 transactions, you're losing a lot of money. So the first thing that I have told at least my folks is, once this lockdown is over and Citi, in my case it is Citibank, give a call across to them and say that I want a simpler card.
Correct.
I do not want that wireless thing.
I want a PIN card, but I don't want a wireless card.
I want to disable Forex transactions, no foreign exchange transactions.
But that you can do it online.
Whatever.
Can wireless be discontinued online?
Wireless, sir, wireless.
You have to replace the card.
You have to replace the card, because what's happened is, RBI had mandated and they were allowing this thing, but then I think people have gone to court, etc. And now you can get a simpler card. The simpler card works better.
Yes, you get a card with a PIN but without wireless.
And as Mr. Subramaniam said, have limits placed for all transactions.
And please use credit card more than you use debit card. Forget this 2%. Somebody can just wipe out 100% of your bank account. Debit card, if they break in suddenly in the night, you will keep on getting SMS at 6 a.m. in the morning. Your account will be empty and the money will be in East Europe and China. It is impossible for them to trace. Then you can ask, who broke into my card? How did they get my PIN? You can keep asking. So please don't use debit card extensively. Use a small credit card. Take a credit card with a 75,000 rupees or 1 lakh limit. Use that extensively. Don't, and use a big card only for hospitalization. So suppose you get a HDFC Bank credit card with a limit of 15 lakhs. Take it for 15 lakhs, but go home and make it 2 lakh a card. You don't need more than 2 lakhs. Whenever you want a limit more than 2 lakhs, in 30 seconds, you can increase the limit. So that day you increase the limit.
Nowadays, you can set your limit online also.
That's what I'm saying. You can set it online. So not an issue at all. So because you can do it online, go to take a 15 lakh rupee card, reduce the limit to 2 lakhs. The day you want to admit somebody in a hospital, you go online, increase the limit to 15 lakhs and charge on the credit card for admitting into hospital. Actually, only hospitalization, you will need a big debit card, a big credit card. Otherwise, you don't normally need. Even if you go to a hotel and your bill is 2 lakhs, you can do 2 debits of 1 lakh each. It's not really a problem. Hospital will insist that 5 lakh jama karo to hum admit karega. That time you need a big credit card. But use a small credit for everything else, no? See, now all of us have a limit of 75,000. We end up using 15,000 rupees. We don't use 75,000. So 75,000 ka card is enough, except in case of a medical emergency when you need a card for 15 lakhs.
But are banks issuing cards which are without wireless?
Yeah, they will. You can ask for that. And even if they give you that kind of a card, then you can put a special wrapper in which it can be kept. Therefore, the electricity won't pass through that. It will pass through an ordinary purse, but covers like that are available through which it won't pass. So
no, but when you give it to somebody, what amount they debit, it becomes little risky. No?
But wireless cards have a limit of 2,000. No? So they can't debit for amount. Yeah. Wireless only 2,000. Beyond that, you will have to use it like a ordinary card. Or you can use UPay and all that. That is much safer and better. UPay also has a limit of 40,000 per day per person. So
yeah, Mr. Subramaniam, for 15 lakh rupee credit card.
Sorry,
they not want 15 lakh rupee credit card. Would they want some collateral, or you have to?
No. They'll give you depending on the balance that you hold, the number of shares that you. Suppose you hold your savings bank account, your DMAT account, and all with HDFC Bank, they will easily give it to you.
Okay. But we always think that larger the credit limit, it's unsafe. So we typically ask for not more than 3 lakhs, 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs. But 15 lakhs is,
No, I'm saying 2 cards. One with 1 lakh, one with 15 lakhs.
I got it. No,
1 lakh को कहीं भी pizza लेना है, 1 lakh का card, air travel करना है, 1 lakh का card.
I have the same, but I have 5 lakhs and 1 lakh, not 15 and 1.
So बढ़ा देंगे, आपसे प्यार से बढ़ा देंगे, उनको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
खुशी से बढ़ाएंगे.
ने पूछा ही नहीं हमने, हम तो 15 लाख तो देख के डर जाते हैं कि इतना बड़ा अमाउंट है.
In fact, I've had experiences where they keep calling you and saying that based on your track record, we want to increase your credit limit. That also happens with all these people.
No, but Mani, let me tell you that earlier I used to say you should have only 1 card, that's enough. Now I've changed myself, because what has happened during COVID is, if suppose your company is not paying you salary for 2-3 months, the banker realizes that and he reduces the limit available on your credit card. So suddenly you don't have a job, or you don't have you have a company which is not paying you regularly and your credit card limit has gone down. So best is to have a card which is other than your salary account wala bank. So if your salary is going into HDFC Bank, then you should have an ICICI Bank card and vice versa. So, because you can't use it when you need it, what is the use? Banker तो वही होता है ना, आपको छतरी मई महीना में देगा और फिर वापस ले लेगा और फिर वापस नवंबर में देगा.
Point.
Good. But money management, do you have any idea which are the good books or courses?
Actually, I think you can simplify it dramatically. Don't get into any complicated things. दाल चावल खाओ, कुछ खराबी नहीं है. मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ, आप simple index fund, medical insurance, annuity, इसके सिवा आप कुछ मत करो. If you really want, if it for somebody else, Go to my blog. On my blog, I've written books to read. बहुत लंबा list है, वो पढ़ो. My blog
no, I'm
is
talking especially for teenagers. I have a grandson who is 12 years. So how to get him into this money management?
12 is too early, but let him do the basics at home. Let him pay the medical, let him pay the electricity bill, let him pay the telephone bill. He will know how to go online, how to make payment. वहीं से start करो. When you take him outside, don't pay by card, pay by cash. Let him know कि भाई cash जाता है तो सामान आता है, फुकट में नहीं आता है. And then have very adultish discussions with him. Ask him, is Modi doing this is right? Is this right? And you will be surprised at how intelligent answers they give. Then you realize कि भाई ये तो सीख रहा है, so it's so bad. So then start. Talk to him a lot. That's good enough way to start. Books are available, but then little older, 15, 16 में books will be useful. अभी वो नहीं पढ़ेगा because उसका पढ़ाई इतना करना है तो उसके बीच में ये नहीं पढ़ेगा. He may not even be finding time for reading storybooks. So kids won't read. Kids have to be told. You have to talk to them and make them understand. So ask them to handle cash. Ask them to pay salaries of the servants. Tell them, boss, देखो ये हमारे घर में आते हैं, हमको काम करने नहीं आता है, इसीलिए झाड़ू पट्टा के लिए आती है, कपड़ा धोने के लिए आती है, तो उसको पैसा दो, उसको थैंक यू बोलो. So you will be teaching them gratitude and money. Let them have gratitude to our servants, because when they are your age, they will not have servants. Servants भाग जाएंगे. 50 साल के बाद servants नहीं मिलेंगे, उसको खुद करना पड़ेगा सब. So let us at least have gratitude. Yeah, so let us have gratitude towards our servants. They have made our life easier.
I'm sure everybody has realized it maximum during the lockdown.
Yeah, every man is now wanting to buy a dishwasher and vacuum cleaner. He didn't think it was very important.
I think the first step was to learn cleaning utensils, you know.
Yes.
Absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful. I think that was a very, very meaningful interaction. I think this was a very unusual Friday Fundas format where we had so much of charcha. I almost wanted to say it was charcha over chai, but I hope you managed to pick up your cups of chai at home, because we could not serve it to you virtually. But I'm sure things will be better over a period of time, and you will have the opportunity to have charcha over chai all over again. On a personal note, thanks, Subra. That was very, very enjoyable interacting with you. All of us had different perspectives, different views, and I think I told you the age group of people present today, I think would range right from 25 years old to about 70 years old. So that kind of confirms this topic was so very important, each one from their own perspective.
Correct.
So thank you once again. And I think Subra mentioned it, but I'd like to repeat it for everybody if you missed it. subramani.com is his website. It was there as part of our promos which we had sent you, but you can Google it. So much of storytelling is there on that blog, and you can enjoy it at different points in time. And I think if you need to complete reading it, God forbid, you might need another 3 months of lockdown to complete it. There is so much of matter which is available there, but I'm not praying for that in any case. Thank you, Subra. And I'd like to hand back to any participant if you want to make any closing remarks.
Any more questions?
I think we are reasonably on time, and we've tried to follow a good practice that we start on time and we end on time, so that there is a positive discipline in the whole activity. Anybody in the group would like to make any concluding remarks or would like to say something before Kavita will do the official wrap up on all our behalf?
Thanks a lot, Mr. Subramaniam. Thank you
My
very
pleasure,
much.
sir.
Thank
I'm
you.
happy that all of you participated, because that makes it easier. In a open classroom, I can do a lot of talking. यहाँ पे बहुत bore हो जाता है, तो it's always nice to have questions and answers.
I want
Mr.
to just
Subramaniam?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Professor Mani, you wanted to say something? You can
go ahead. First you. Go ahead.
Okay. So thank you for a wonderful talk. I was hoping that you would have actually taken us through your presentation, because just to give a very honest feedback, I thought that we got into a Q&A too early in the talk, because of which a lot of micro issues got addressed and, you know, kind of things. If you had something that you could have probably taken us through and then opened it for a Q&A, I think it would have been a little more meaningful, a little more focused, and value adding for people who were looking at a larger canvas to understand the macro issues. Please don't take my feedback in any other way other than me as one of the participants who was expecting a lot, but I think somewhere it got lost. So this is my feedback, and I hope you take it the right thing. But I would love to definitely, follow you. And now that I've known you through BMA, I would definitely know that there's a lot of value addition that you could otherwise make to people like us who are not very, we are basically naive in terms of financial planning. Thank you so much.
No, 1 minute, let me answer you. See, personal finance, if you see, is personal and finance. So it is far more personal and very little about finance, okay? Or rather, it's more personal and less finance. So specific questions is what will get asked, because broad gyan, because if there's a 22-year-old and a 70-year-old, then it is very difficult to address. There is nothing called common. The 70-year-old has very different questions and 22-year-old will have very different questions. So it's much better off to do a Q&A format, except when the class is of uniform age. If everybody is 35, then there are common questions. Otherwise, this is going to happen. I request you to do one thing. Please go to my blog, like you said you will. I also do YouTube videos. And then you can ask me, you have my mail ID, you can send me a mail and I'll reply to you. Any questions which you thought should have been addressed today, send me the questions, I'll reply you personally.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I'm going to take 2 minutes to just update you about our next 3 weeks offerings. 15th July, we have a Wednesday webinar on a very interesting topic, that is migrant labor. I think all of us have read sufficiently about it, and we have a very distinguished professional in the field of industrial relations and employee welfare who's served the HR fraternity for over 35 years, Mr. Vivek Patwardhan, who will be leading this discussion. On the 17th of July, we have yet another Friday Fundamental webinar, and the topic there is how to make your website attractive so that you have customers coming onto your website. This is being delivered by Supriya Sachdeva, who is a veteran in the field of websites as well as social media expert. 22nd July, we have a Wednesday webinar on emotional quotient and how to use it successfully at work and at home. 24th July, we have a Friday Fundamentals program on 3D printing technologies and how it is going to impact the future going ahead. Last but not the least, the schedule for 31st July is going to be another finance topic, that is finance for non-finance people. And this is going to be led by one of our participants who had to leave because he had another meeting, a very active person of BMA and a veteran finance person. His name is RSR Murthy, and he was till recently the CFO of Madison, and he's going to lead this webinar. Obviously, you're going to get all the intimations as part of the mailers that we keep sending you. Your feedback is always welcome. Thank you for the feedback that we also received today. On that note, I will hand back to Kavita to conclude this webinar.
Thank you, Mr. Subramaniam. It was very engrossing.
My pleasure.
And all the discussion that we had looked like it is my problem. So many of us have come across these kind of issues.
Yeah.
And the questions are there now that the person who advises me on finances, should I once again check at the experience of someone who is taking additional money from him, and also while using debit cards, how careful one should be. In fact, as a very typical, you mentioned in your discussion also that it's typically middle class mentality that we save on those credit cards. Instead of that, we think that debit cards are better. But now I realize that the risk that we run with debit cards and such kind of things can be avoided by simple trick that you told, that have some credit cards which will have some limits. So thank you so much for so many things that you had talked about in this. First of all, how do you manage your life, have circles, different circles that you set.
Yes.
It's very, very meaningful, because we can't be very monotonous, but we will have to have diversity as well as some similar kind of people who are flocking together. Thank you so much. And I'm sure nobody wants to get pushed for retirement. Everyone wants to have their full kind of thing. We will remember your advice for creating something which is more hobby and which will pull us to spend time with them after
actually women are much smarter. They at least have something to do. Men have nothing to do. And I warn women that if your husband retires, it means more husband and less money. It's a horrible combination. So be careful about that. But yeah, creating groups is also useful, because at the age of 60 you can tell somebody, I'm going for a friend's marriage. Friend ka shadi, haan, mera 20 saal ka dost hai, 25 saal ka dost hai. That happens when you create groups.
Yes,
like I'm sure it happens to you because you're a teacher. You'll have students getting married.
Yes,
but they're still students. But here they'll be your friends. They could be your wildlife friends or walking friends and things like that. It's a great pleasure.
Yes.
Joining Rotary is another option people should really look at. I joined Rotary at the age of 40, and now 70 plus. I am 35 years old with Rotary. So one kind of a circle, different, plus the weekly meeting and frequent interactions, and plus some opportunity to serve the society.
Absolutely.
So Rotary is one of the fantastic organizations to join. Plus
Rotary groups, hobby groups, walking group, running group, cycling group. So बहुत से हैं sir Raji. Most retired people are busier than when they were working. So that's great.
This is the third Zoom meeting I'm attending since morning. So it's that speaks. So this is a 6th hour. I've attended till now 6 hours of things. So my wife is complaining, you have no time to talk. You are whole day at home. Abhi kya kare?
Very well said. Peter Drucker in Challenges for 21st Century has said that you have to manage yourself. After 40, you should have your second career. And you reminded me of that. Thank you so much. It was very, very engrossing. And I hope everyone has enjoyed, with so many risk points we face or we come across. We would like to have you once again sometime when you are free, and we can have more focused discussions with a wider group. Thank you so much. And I thank all the past presidents and the participants for taking time out and spending time with us on this Friday. It was really meaningful. Thank you so much, Mr. Subramaniam. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Can we all put on our videos for our usual group photograph, please? We always do this so that we keep it as a nice memory of your presence here today. It's time to put on your videos. Wow, everybody's super fast. We usually have some participants who take 2 minutes to get ready.
What to do? How to do?
Just put on your videos, please. Karishma, Prabhakar, Nori, we are waiting for you. Mr. Nori, who's there, has been our former faculty for one of our Wednesday webinars on neuro-linguistic programming. It was a very interesting session. Mr. Nori, are you with us? Karishma? All right, so we're going to take the photograph in less than 30 seconds. Our official photographers are none than our very efficient BMA Secretariat staff. So Lakshmi and Hoini are going to capture the beautiful memories of this wonderful evening. All yours, Lakshmi. Done. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Stay safe and stay blessed.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.